Alright, hi YouTube. This video is more so just kind of me getting used to the new GoPro. My girlfriend was kind of joking around calling me YouTube famous now since I have 18 whole subscribers. And I want to try out the new GoPro. I had a couple questions about the car, so I guess before I get driving I'll talk about it a little bit. I have a few minor complaints, really only two. One of them is that the door lock unlock button does not light up at night, and it's inverted to what my old car used to be, so I often find myself mashing the lock button when I mean to mash the unlock button. And that you cannot disable the hill start assist, which I'm not used to, and it feels very weird driving a vehicle with hill start assist sometimes. But anyway, we'll get driving. I'm gonna try to make more videos. I'm not trying to do YouTube as a career or anything. Right now I'm finishing up college. I have a couple interviews that have been going well. I think I'm probably gonna get a job here soon. And I just want a new vehicle because most likely I'll have to drive a lot for my job. I've already put a lot of miles on this car considering I haven't had it very long. I'm almost at 1,100 miles already. Yeah. So just drive around a little bit, show you guys what it's like. I had a couple people talking about it being noisy. I think that was more so my phone than the actual car. It's not too bad. It's a cheap car. It's not like whisper silent. It's not nearly as quiet as my girlfriend's Honda HR-V, but that car costs almost as much as two of these cars. So you get what you pay for, you know. This is kind of a car for people who want a new car with a warranty, but really don't want to pay new car money. I would say too, though, if you are thinking about buying one of these cars, I would definitely get the manual. Nissan doesn't have the best history with their automatics. And it's a nice driving car. It took a little bit getting used to. This car likes a little bit higher revs than my old manual cars used to. I've had a few. My first manual car was a Ford Fiesta, and I had a Geo Prism, which I really loved that car. Unfortunately, someone was stopped on the highway in the middle of the night with no lights on, and I rear-ended them. That was not a pleasant experience. But yeah, so this is the car driving. It's pretty nice. My girlfriend and I have already gone out quite a few times in here. You can hear each other just fine. You're not shouting over the engines. It's much quieter than my previous car, which was a Mitsubishi Mirage. And I have a couple cars right now. So I have a 99 Suburban, the Honda HR-V, this car, and then a 2000 Toyota Tundra. And I'd say the HR-V is the quietest, but this car comes second. It's not nearly as quiet, or it's a lot quieter than even the Suburban is, but that's just kind of that was a $900 Facebook find. It's just kind of a fun car. It's got a lot of issues. This would make a really good first car if you want to learn stick, but personally I'd recommend if you're buying your first car, you probably don't want something this expensive, even though this is a cheap car. Just because it's your first car, and if you were like me or most of my friends, you're probably going to total it. I'm not saying that to be pessimistic or anything, but you probably will. Yeah, it shifts smooth. I kind of have a problem. I can't keep my hands off any of my vehicles. Every single car I've ever owned is modified, except my girlfriend's car. I've been good about that, but I don't really drive that car, so maybe it's kind of out of my mind. But eventually I do want to put a short shifter in here. I just like having a little flick of the wrist when you're shifting. And once these tires are done, probably in about 30,000 miles, I will put some wheels on it that aren't Steelies. I'll keep the Steelies for winter, but I'd rather have alloys. But you cannot get a manual in alloys. And another weird thing is, technically you're not supposed to even be able to get a manual in blue You can't order it. I tried ordering one from Nissan. You had to find a blue one. It's kind of a weird thing. I did also just recently get my windows tinted. They're 15%, which is the darkest I'd say is reasonable. It's a little tricky to see at night, but I used to install tint, and Washington police they really don't care about tint. Technically this is darker than what's legal. I just didn't like feeling like I was getting baked by the sun every time I was driving, even though we obviously don't get very much sun. Go ahead and merge here on the highway here soon. This car's been getting pretty good gas mileage. I've been doing a lot of city driving. Right now my commute to school is not very far. It's maybe like 10 miles. But when I was taking longer trips for interviews further out from where I live, I was averaging almost 40 miles a gallon. I think I got like 38.9 once I did the math. So, you know, the closest competitor to this car is the Mitsubishi Mirage, and I would strongly recommend against buying one of those. I was in a bad spot when I did. I had a piece of crap Hyundai, transmission blew up, and then I was driving my Geo everywhere, but that car burnt a lot of oil. It had almost 240,000 miles on it. And there was actually nothing wrong with that car. It ran fine, besides burning a lot of oil. But as I said earlier, someone's car broke down in the middle of the highway. I was driving home from work late at night. It was like, I don't know, 1, 2 in the morning. And somebody did not have any of their lights on. And I did not see them until the last moment and just slammed right into the back of them. On paper, it's my fault, but I really don't feel like it was. So ever since then, I've gotten a dash cam because, I mean, I was not speeding, wasn't doing anything stupid. I was just on my way home, and the guy was just dead stopped in the middle lane on the interstate. No lights, no hazards, nothing. Probably hear it's a little noisy on the highway. It's quieter than my previous car, so to me it's pretty nice. It might bother some people, it doesn't bother me. It's also probably a lot to do with the tires. I noticed my Mitsubishi got a lot quieter after I put different tires on it. But you don't have to shout over the engine noise or anything like that, so it really doesn't bother me. And the sound system's pretty good. You turn on the radio, it drowns it out. I don't know how YouTube's copyright stuff works, so I haven't been playing any music, but next video I make, the GoPro that my girlfriend got me came with this thing, so I can be like a full-on vlogger or something like that. And I'll kind of make a walk-around video, maybe try to find like some non-copyright music to play. It's a pretty nice car. I'm pretty happy with it. It's a little dirty right now. I've been driving it a lot. I haven't washed it at all. I used to install tint and PPF and ceramic coatings at my previous job, so I am planning on ceramic coating this. I do really like the color, and I would like to get it PPF'd one day, but PPF on the cheap end is about $1,800 to $2,000, so that's just not worth it for me. A couple people were asking about, and I read online about this also, about the car going into limp mode when you stall it. I can't really say anything about that. Luckily, I've managed to not stall. Before I bought this car, it was probably about 3 years since I owned a manual. 3 or 4. You know, it's like riding a bike. It all came back pretty quick. I still find myself revving it a little bit too high when I'm starting, but I've been getting better at it. So yeah, you guys should let me know how you liked the GoPro video. It was my girlfriend helped me buy it. It was really sweet of her. As you can hear, first gear's in very, very short, as it is on most manuals, but feels like extremely short on this car. And it's got a lot of whine. It's probably straight cut, which is a good thing. Same thing with reverse whines also. Heat, AC, all that works. Pretty sure you guys can see my dash okay, so I'll kind of, after this roundabout, I'll kind of drift out of my lane a little bit. All the lane keep does is vibrate your wheel just to get your attention. It doesn't like redirect the vehicle back into your lane. But I'm not a huge fan of that stuff anyway. I like simple, won't break. I mean, you can feel it when you switch these knobs. It's a mechanical linkage, just like the old Toyotas, just straight to a flap. You know, as least electronic stuff as possible, the least amount of stuff that's gonna break. So I'll go ahead and drift out of my lane here. You can probably see the light flash. Well, it didn't. No, there. It went on for a second there. It works for the most part, but you could turn it off here if you wanted to. There's also rear sonar, which is pretty cool. I've never had that in a vehicle, but it's kind of silly since 2017 federal laws required every new vehicle made to have a reverse camera, so you don't really need the sonar anymore. But it is nice. This vehicle does have forward and rear automatic emergency braking. You know, luckily I haven't had them activate at all, but I'm sure they work. Fifth gear is pretty short too on this car. At 70, I'm at about 3,000 RPM. I still average great gas mileage. It gets above what the Maroni said. But it's kind of nice, so you can throw it in fifth at really any speed over like 35, 40. That light. Yeah, you guys can see another little kind of silly thing I've noticed about this car is the mirror's not level. My girlfriend pointed that out to me the other day. But it is a pretty nice car and I'm really happy with it. Door cards are hard, but I think I mentioned this in one of my previous videos. I'm pretty much always wearing a jacket. I live in Washington. It rarely gets into the 70s over here, so I don't really notice it. Another option I would strongly recommend again is the center console. A lot of these cars do not come with one, but I'm just kind of a baby. I like having a place to put my arm. probably the busiest intersection in town, so this light takes a while. Nice thing too, and I mean you can do it on my girlfriend's Honda, but it's not as easy as at night. You know, since there's no Apple CarPlay, you don't really need a screen on. You hit that button, it just turns the display off, which is nice. I like it. All the other lights stay lit up, and all these buttons still work. It still plays your music, it just turns the screen off. On the Honda, you have to go through like 4 menus to get it to do that. And on the Honda, it doesn't turn back off if you change the volume or skip the song. So I'll go ahead, there's a parking lot that's usually pretty empty up here coming up. I'll go ahead, walk around the car. I'll turn on the lights for you guys to see. I did try to make a night video the other day, but the area I live in pretty much has no street lights, so you couldn't really see too much. So I decided not to post that. I am excited once it's at 1,200 miles, according to the owner's manual, the break-in period's over, and I'm not how I used to be, where I don't need to drive crazy fast everywhere, but I do like revving my car out every now and again, you know, giving it what my friends like to call an Italian tune-up. So yeah, here's the parking lot. I'm not even sure really what this parking lot's for. It's not really connected to anything, it's just kind of here. I'll go ahead and turn the lights on, turn the hazards on for y'all. So it does have automatic lights, and I pretty much always leave them on, and automatic brights, which is nice, but I'm just gonna go ahead and turn on the headlights and brights, and as well as the hazards, and walk around it. You see it's a little dirty. I do use it every day. But you can see you got these are your main beams and then your high beams. As I said earlier, it does have automatic brights, which are pretty nice. And so you got your radar for your pedestrian avoidance, or pedestrian and crash avoidance. It's a pretty slick looking car. You can see it looks better with the windows tinted in my opinion. I'm just not a huge fan of hubcaps, but I wanted the manual, so that's what I got. You can see your sonar over here. A little spider came along for a ride with us. And then the area I live in, everybody loves tailgating. So I have this funny vanity plate surround. It says, "Get mad, I love driving slow." I like that. But yeah, it's a pretty nice car. It doesn't feel cheap. It's not like the Mitsubishi. The Mitsubishi felt really cheap. Everything is painted all throughout here. You can see it's a little dirty. Can open up the gas cap for you, and the trunk. Even in my Mitsubishi, like in here, wasn't painted at all, and just kind of made it feel really cheap. And the car was only like a couple $100 less than I paid for this car. So I don't really know what Mitsubishi was cheaping out on. I think they're just trying to make the most amount of money they could on the cheapest car they could. So everything's painted. In Mitsubishi, this was all not painted. I will say, you can see I cut my hand. It is sharp up in here. I was grabbing my backpack the other day and I reached up a little bit too high and I caught my hand on something. And I guess since I'm over here and nobody seems to care too much about what I'm doing right now, I'll show you guys the engine while it's running. It's a little noisy. It has 8 fuel injectors, so I think that's a lot of the noise. Open the gas cap by accident. So, but it's not bad, and it's just as efficient as the 1.2 liter 3-cylinder that I had. You can hear it, a little noisy, not bad. You can hear those injectors tapping away. So you got your dipstick, and then there is, I believe, a way to check your fluid. Or no, that's just a vent. on the manual. I don't know how. It's probably just you know, like any other automatic. There's probably just a fill and a drain hole. But yeah, it's a pretty nice car, and I'm really happy with it. So the options I got was the blue, which is a pretty rare option, mud flaps, which who really cares about, and the center armrest. Yeah, it's a pretty nice car, and overall I'm pretty happy with it. I don't really know what else to say. I think I'm going to try to make a video more in depth later on and kind of go over all the options, like what all these buttons do and what everything on the wheel does. But it's a really simple car. I mean, everything's hard plastic, all of it. It does have mirrors, which is nice. It has map lights, which is nice, and a center light, more stuff that my Mitsubishi did not have, and a pretty big back seat, as you can see. My girlfriend wanted to sit back there the other day for fun. She actually fell asleep while we were driving home, so I guess that's a testament to my driving skill. At least I'm not driving manual that bad. Another thing that's kind of nice too is you got the little extender guys like the old Toyotas used to have, but you can probably tell from the video I'm a pretty tall guy, so I rarely have to put the visors down because my eyes are almost level with the top of the windshield. But yeah, that's pretty much everything. If you guys have any other questions, just let me know and I'll try to make a video about it when I get a chance, and I really appreciate all the interest that you guys have shown. Yeah, I don't really have anything else to say. Thank you. Bye-bye.